I can see it. I see it in the cards. You see it? Ah, there are no secrets anymore. It's all in here.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. We are live. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
We are here. It's just going to be us today. I know I
We
advertised.
missed out on a guest, last minute. So
Yeah,
whenever you hear this later on, yeah.
things happen. So, yeah, that life always is happening, as I always say.
We are really adaptive. So
Yes.
the possibility to be adaptive, that makes like life, that makes like a good life. So we adapt, and we will be discussing some challenges, Morgan, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. We just put that challenge up everywhere. Just putting it. Okay. And it was. Yeah, so we put up that because we were doing the different cards on how I have a different deck today, of course, but and it was the mice, anchor, and tree, I believe, because for some reason I can't pick good cards to save my life this week. Although they have been getting a little better. So,
What do you think? Mice anchor tree.
yes, I'm trying to pull it too. Let me, I can, whoops. Ugh, let me sure, just double checking, but I believe that's what it was because we had a couple people respond. Uh, yeah, so, oh, here we go. Yeah, mice anchor tree, and somebody had put up that it like. Oh, do you want me to tell you what somebody said?
Yeah,
Somebody
I would
said
like
a.
to.
Okay, yeah. So somebody from TikTok, Irene said chronic illness declining, and I can see that in the cards.
Mhm.
Because the anchor, especially like that, something that's there to stay, you know what I mean? Something that's not moving, something that, you know what I mean? Especially with the tree and the mice. Because with the tree and the
Mhm.
mice anyway, I would think some kind of a, illness, obviously,
Yeah,
but chronic and declining, yeah. So for the two, hang on, let me see the other person. And I know,
it always depends, of course, because that's like the difficulty if you work with those live area cards. So the
yes,
three is one of those live area cards, like the moon in my work is like the live area card of work, and the tree is like the overall card talking about health. So that also
yes.
depends on, okay, how do you charge the meaning of this card? So now we had like, I assume like an open reading so that these cards can mean anything that they want
Yes,
to mean. So everything in regards that you read in regards of health, yeah, would be like
yeah.
a good reading because that's like a meaning. But also know that you can also fill in the tree in the context without health, but
Yes.
you have somewhere like a figurative unhealthy situation because the tree is not a card of health, the tree is a
Hmm.
card of sick. You see, so
Yes.
this card points out that something is
Um,
uh, not totally healthy, at least. So otherwise, if something was totally healthy, the tree would not appear in that reading. Or we could have let us talk about sickness, whereas other cards, for instance, like here the ankle, but it depends on the order. Would say, okay, but now a sickness somehow comes of ends in like a good card, so it will be good. So if we keep it really simple, see, but that's also something you have to make up. What is the context? If the context is like open, yeah, you can just fill in the tree as sickness, which is totally valid, which is like logical. But you can also see this as, yeah, figurative sickness in there, or that something is not like the ultimate vitality it needs here. But it does not
hmm
have to mean something bad on its own. It always
hmm
depends on other cards. You see, but if people say, that this will be somehow resolved. I don't see this with this combination and this order.
Hmm. Yeah, no, no. Yes, it's going to be
Whilst
ongoing.
the anchor is, of course, like a good code. And if you
Yeah.
then look at like you really even like, I give you an example, the health meanings, about the ankle, which I also somehow explained in my volume 3, often shows the hips. Everything to do with the hips, whilst the mice would be glowing something away, which would also be giving a stress factor, but also act as glowing pain on your hip, for instance.
Yes. Yes.
But this could just as mean as well as in another situation, not having to do anything with health, with this combination with the mice, the ankle, and the tree, that these mice are somehow gnawing away on the stability of this situation, which leads to an unhealthy situation, or which is somehow how you say it, which is the result of this. See,
Yeah.
because these mice gnawing away on the ankle, and the ankle also always shows something stable or something truthful, in that regard. And then it's not good because the mice they steal from it.
Yeah.
The mice is always like this edge of injustice. They
Yeah.
take something that does not belong to them. So if the mice are there, someone is taking, which is injustice. They
Yes.
can,
Oh,
I can
yeah.
steal your money, for instance, with the mice, but I can also steal your IDs. We were talking about stealing IDs, but that would have to show in the other cards, of course. But if the mice are there, they take something that does not belong to them. So you
Yeah.
will be thieved. You have to see it that way. And here
Yeah.
you will be thieved of your stability or whatever
Hmm.
that means, for instance, in like a love life context, which gives you um, trustability, which gives you true love. See?
Yeah.
And that's also where what you have to factor in.
Yes. Here,
And
just
there's
see if
one task. You have to make a sentence, a credo, or something with 3 keywords. One from the mice, one from the ankle, one from the tree.
yeah.
Simple as that. And if you can succeed in that, that's your reading.
Yeah. So I was just seeing if there's comments. Yeah, I like that. There was I was trying because we talked about it's an open-ended question. And that's why I was saying if you wanted to put your question and then the card reading, you can always do that too. Like if you see a different way to read it. And there, like Donna Lay was asking, she's like, "Oh, can you do it in a food context?" And I was like, "Of course." But then she never did the follow-up, or at least I can't find it. So I'm curious on how she saw that as food. Or
Yeah.
oops, just her.
This could
Oh,
be like a broccoli.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
I don't
like,
like it, but it has to have a good sauce.
yeah, yeah, like
But it has to
because you
like
are.
the spring texture on your teeth, whilst you are gnawing, there's like some peeping noise inside of your head.
Yeah, there you go. I know. So I was trying to like expand my mind on the thing because, like, if you're thinking the hips, but like the mice taking away something from the hips, like trying to lose weight, so eat broccoli. No, I don't know. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you know, uh, these are funny things to do. You see, like to see, okay, could I somehow see like a food context in this? But it can somehow blur your understanding of it because it's like really layered, and really, Donna Leash is so creative in that regard, and I'm pretty much sure that she also would say, okay, but these are like meanings on top of, the yeah, traditional or the more like somehow meanings that we have consensus about. You see, you
Yeah,
will not often encounter a question as a card reading about food,
yeah,
but you can, you, yeah, you should be able to ask so. And that is like interesting also. Uh, if you do like daily draws, to have this relationship with your cards, in a real playful manner. What will I eat for dinner tonight? Yeah, Of course, it's like such questions are not like life-threatening or not like giving you, yeah, but it's like a fun thing, and that really adds on to the relationship with your cards. But it would be strange that you would see a broccoli each time because you would miss out on a message that this tree somehow points out that you have to watch your health. You see what, and then you maybe think, okay, I need a broccoli again.
Yeah, that's yeah. That, well, actually, just because thinking like illness, if you're gonna, well, it's a couple things. One is if you're asking about what am I having for dinner, or hey, I want to do something different for dinner. Doing something for dinner could lead to food poisoning or something, because it's going to cause an unhealthy situation. You know what I mean? It's going to cause you to be, it's going to do something to your health, maybe. Like the restaurant you're going to go to will cross contaminate something, and then all of a sudden now you're not healthy. It's gonna, so don't change up your routine tonight. you know, but
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I always say. To someone step inside of the core of this oracle and I want to understand there's also to work the other way around. If you have like a certain concept that you think about it, even if you're like sitting in a train or sitting in your car and don't have your cards at hand, that you think about, okay, but this situation or what you hear on the news or whatever, how if the cards should explain me something about that, how could
yeah,
they somehow make sure that I got this message in a cryptic way?
yeah,
And I think that's
yeah,
like a really good exercise in order to understand the particular number of cards. Because
yeah. No,
the answer is like always cryptic. It's like a cryptic answer. You have to connect the dots.
yes,
And
exactly.
you have like three cards. So the answer will exist out of three keywords. So, and that is up to you because you do really need your intuition in order to know, okay, but are these three separate sentences? Are these three keywords culminating to one somehow saying or a credo or whatever? So it's up to you. So you have to use your intuition, but
Yeah,
you have
no,
to
it's
choose intuitively about what the oracle somehow says. You can be intuitive enough, so it's not restricted, but it's a way of looking at it in order to get the utmost out of this language, because it's like a
yeah,
language of
yes,
thought,
yeah. No, absolutely, it's
and in
true.
that regard, it's also interesting to sometimes throw three cards on the table and invent the question on top of that.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you know, not everyone does ask about, relationships and their career, money. I've had people ask about, because now that we're talking about food, weight loss, like having trouble losing weight, needing to be healthier, and if you got something like that in a health reading, or like, I need to be healthier, or, eat better.
Yeah, and can get top in handy. If you someone want to find out if someone has like certain allergies, for instance.
Hmm.
But of course, I really find that you should um, find this advice with a physician. But
Yes, no.
it's good as a cardaments to have this like in your head, even if you can somehow point it out for whatever it's worth. Often a lot of good things happen in health-wise in that regard. Not that you will be doing the heart surgery yourself as a cardaments, but you somehow point out, okay, but here for whatever it's worth, the heart is like touching the trees, and the side is there. So maybe there is, without making you afraid, maybe there is a risk or there is maybe something with that. So whenever you see your physician next time, maybe you could see if you could do some new blood work, that we could take your blood pressure or whatever. See,
Yeah,
without scaring them, because that's often like a really good thing.
yeah, no, to do. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah,
So are there more
definitely.
challenges? I like challenges.
Yeah, no, I know it's fun because we got a couple of responses. I know I sent them all to you because Paul did respond too. And I'm trying to think where, oh yeah, he did on YouTube because I was like, my mind, like, I'm trying to, because everyone responded in a different place, whether it was YouTube, TikTok, which was, I
Mhm.
thought, pretty interesting. Because, yeah, but we can, yeah, do another challenge. Let me see where his was. Oh, yeah.
No, this was
His,
something, that was a really great invention. So Donna May, I have really high regards. She is such a creative person, and back in the day, she invented this in the particular law scene. She nowadays still does that on her Facebook with the tarot, with right away tarot, and she has like this beautiful thing where she has something like a sentence. Okay, if you see blank and then a certain card, then I will always do blank and a certain card.
yeah,
This is like the ultimate thing to learn cartomancy. You
yes,
should
yes,
really see
yes.
that at the Facebook of Donna Lay. She still does that nowadays with the tarot, but this idea. And also to get fluent in how to do cartomancy, even if the right away is not your thing or whatever. But
Yeah,
step further and learn how to think fluently with these concepts.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was just reading. It's so in like because I was just reading the last challenge, sorry. I was listening that Dave who's saying that taking the middle card as the heart of the context and then using those twos to mirror each other.
Yeah, that's also a great thing.
Because then it kind of puts a, yeah, I was trying to read it further. But it's an interesting way to look at it. And that's why I was saying for the challenge that I don't know if we were, creating a question and then using these cards. Because that's the thing is there is no context when you just hold the three cards up. There's no thing. But if we pull three more cards, like telling people to create a question for it and then answer it with that question.
Yeah, because each time it changes, and I think that's like when you're getting fluent at cartomancy, that you can think fast right away without overthinking. I think
Yeah,
that's the thing which is like important, but you can learn this in a really playful manner.
yeah, yes, definitely. Yeah, that's what I was looking at through different cards. I was just seeing if somebody was responding. It's weird because it says there's a comment, but then it's not there. I wonder if somebody deleted it. Oh well.
Maybe again another attack because you are doing witchy stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Taking out.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Let me just looking for it. Okay, well, I guess if somebody else had a thing, maybe it's just, I don't know, either that or Mercury retrograde again where things didn't show up.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
like the challenges. Keep them coming. So everyone who likes like a particular more challenge, make sure you follow.
Yes.
If you are not in our Facebook groups yet, if you don't
Yeah.
follow
We're here.
uh, those 3 zillion uh, podcast things we have, then you should do that, and stay up to
Yeah.
date with all the news on cartomancy, but on everything to do with mystery, on Freemasonry, on the Knights Templars, everything that somehow spices life with this great thing in regards of mystery.
Yeah. Because we're, yeah, all over the place. Plus doing a bunch of amazing things with podcasts with all of it.
Yeah,
Because everyone has their favorite social media. We were on them all. Because everybody responded to the challenge in a different place, never the same.
I didn't even know about all these things that we are somehow part of. I'm like really old school, like Facebook. I was thinking I was like really modern was having like Instagram. Then my kids somehow said to me TikTok. So now I think I'm like, yeah, the ultimate new command or something like that. But then, there are like a zillion other things, but I cannot cope with that anymore.
Yeah,
Or there,
very
and whatever suits you best. Yeah, so,
exactly.
but we are everywhere. Buzzsprout, I came to know Buzzsprout via Morgan. But
Yeah.
that's more than enough because I'm like,
I know it's yeah, it's just it's everywhere. Okay, do you want me to pick three more cards for the next one?
yeah. So when I'm shuffling here, let me
Oh yeah.
take,
Oh
so
yeah.
I'm asking, so, okay, on the Oracle, what is the information you want to give me now or for the people who are like listening or seeing this later on? Aha. So I got the deck and I have like the anchor and the flowers.
Oh, yeah.
So anchor flowers. So let me know what you think about this. Let
And
me know possibilities. It's like an open context, so it can mean whatever you want.
and what that you see of it too, like what's the first thing you see? Because it's usually then answering a question you might not know you have. So just go with what you see first too.
Yeah. And you can really start to dig it down. That's something that's in my head. And that's also why I always advocate for to have knowledge about the inserts. Because in
Yes.
fortune telling, what we often do, you want to know what your fortune is. And I can see it
Yes.
right away with the cards I got.
Yes.
If, like, if this is good news or bad news, or someone in between. So something in between would somehow, yeah, consist about a positive and a negative card. Now, because I have like only two cards, no. And now is the answer, are these bad cards? Then it's like a bad answer, or not like something you wish for. And it's like a good cards, that is something good. So even if you somehow struggle with giving it the right nuance, you can also provide already an answer. And I always did that because I always would say, okay, this will be good, or this will be heavy metal, or this will see, okay, let's have a look. And then already somehow set the framework on my first impression, and that first impression I explained by the exact meanings of these cards and how they would somehow fit the context.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's like good to have like this first impression, and everyone can do this just by suddenly know, okay, what inserts are there? And of course, there are several inserts who are like really easy because if you have like spades, that's like a good thing. Like
Hmm.
only like a good thing can never go wrong. In the hearts, the same story, except you have to look out for the tree. But let's imagine that you are somehow surrounded by all the hearts cards. Yeah, then the tree eventually will also be okay. It will bring
Yeah.
some sickness to that, but all the other cards will somehow say, okay, but it's like a relief of that. So
Hmm.
all hearts cards, all spades cards are good. Then
Yeah.
almost all club cards are really bad. So
Yes.
if I can have like a peek on someone's grand tableau from 5 meters, as long as my eyesight still reaches, I can still see in a blink of an eye if it's like a good or a bad reading. The same goes for the diamonds. Half of the diamonds are like really bad cards, whilst others are good.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
how I call them some of the twists, I think, like in English, the twists of fate. So
Yes.
the real fickle insert. You see, but I know that right away. So when I throw the cards and the significator card falls, in a Grand Tableau or somewhere else, and I
Yeah.
see a lot of diamonds and a lot of clubs, and I think, this is like not the answer you wish for, so brace yourself. But I
Yeah.
think it's really good to have like this first impression and a real
Yeah.
playful thing, less is more.
Yes.
Like
Oh yeah.
Solution. That's also why I advise, as you see in the architecture of Lenormand and all my works, to start to learn this system on playing cards
Yeah.
with these keywords on top of them. You can do without, but if you learn it with it, you will really benefit from it on the long run. That's also why I somehow advocate for it. And of course,
Yeah.
I also find it interesting to work with images. Who does not? But it's the first thing, it's like a linguistical system. So the more you somehow throw everything of the imaginary out of it and learn to work with these linguistical systems, then on top of that, comes the image that does much more for you neurologically. But for reading, you actually don't need them. You can
Hmm.
use them, of course, but you don't need them. And I think if you
Yeah.
rely on what you have less is more on the inserts to have this first impression,
Yeah.
and further on top of that, that you then use with the keywords to somehow substantiate what you already said. And I
Yeah.
think that's like also psychologically, when I was thinking, okay, you come here for a fortune telling. So right away, I will tell you, okay, this will be okay. So rest your shoulders, drop them, or this will be like a nasty fight, raise your shoulders. Or we will see this will be 6-7.
Mhm. Yes, yes. Definitely.
You know, I like to simplify it because it's already complex enough.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, it's true. It really is. And sometimes you don't get clear answers if you try and overthink about it or overdo about it. Just literally the simplest answer is always the best. Simplest one is always good.
You know, and there is yet another tip, also being like always like in a conversation context, as a teacher, as a therapist, as a speaker on certain subjects.
Yeah.
You know, Often there is a difference in quality. You also know this more. Some days you're off, or some days, you don't feel too well, or there are other things on your mind. You see, yeah, there is a difference in the form of the day, but that's with any profession. But then often, it's important that you start talking.
Hmm.
That the solution is like in the action. And I find, it's also like this awkward moment that you're like shuffling cards, and people have like these important questions, and then you have somehow this moment that you lay out the cards, and there is this silence, and your client is like leaning in always until you almost get like a headbutt. And then
Yes.
now I have to come up with a story. You see, I always it's like really projection what I do now. So I would always find this like a strange situation because you somehow could somehow feel the tension. But if you then wait too long in order to start a conversation or that you somehow started to win some time. So, let's see. Okay, let's see. But you somehow forming the narrative in your mind. At least that was how it was with me. But then I find out if I just already started talking, and making my first impression, that's something really strong.
Yeah. Yeah. Less tension.
And
I get.
I think again, it's like real projection. But for me, it was a necessity to already start talking, to
Yeah.
say something and then to substantiate it. That's somehow how my brain works.
Yeah. No, I get that. It's easy too because then they can see how you came up with it and it's not just mystical.
Yeah. And I also, I coach a lot of people who are like public speakers. You would not say this because I'm not like a native speaker, and I often stumble with the English language, but I'm much more fluent than Dutch, but I can't care too much, because, uh, but then, if you are like a public speaker, there's one thing you have to do is speak, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
even if you're like starting sweating, even if you feel okay, my voice a little bit shaky, or I'm like blushing, just start speaking because the sooner you start speaking, the sooner you have like the rhythm, and the sooner
Yeah.
your red cheeks will disappear. Because I know, yeah, but you're laughing more. But a lot of
No,
people
no, I
who are
get
like
it.
public speakers, they
Oh,
contact me because they are ashamed of them blushing.
No, no, I was laughing because like I get it. I'm the same way. Like I don't like talking in public or speaking up. So yeah, that's why I was like I resonate with it because it's like just but once you start to get in the groove of it, it's like you relax, you start moving. So that's why I was laughing because I was like, "Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about."
It's like yeah, jumping out of the plane with a parachute. You know, you rather have someone kick your butt, that you put some, then you only can land. But if you
Yes.
have to stand there, and think about it and the height and and all you see
Yes.
your obituary, then you go back inside.
So yeah, that's yeah, that's why I was yeah because I know exactly that.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
train you to be courageous.
Yes.
But it all comes down to that. It all comes down, and it's like a lengthy parley I did here. But it all comes down to that. To
Hmm.
say this first impression, and then you have somewhat the framework of it, and then it's up to you to somewhat substantiate what you have said.
Yeah.
And I think that's a simplifier the goal, and I gave you the meat to go about it.
I like that.
So,
That's
yeah.
good.
If you
Thank you.
want to have more tips on how to read, if you have more tips, because I cannot put this in my book. You see, that's
Yeah.
also why the big advantage is we can study with us, and we answer so many questions that I was never able to write in a book. Because then,
Yeah.
this would be a book, that you, yeah, that your closet will someone come down from the wall. You see, but that's also the advantage and what people say, okay, but we can talk about the things behind the words, behind the meanings, and how to somehow, that's the same as learning to swim, but we swim, we start right away in the water with the temperature of the water, with the texture of the water. We
Yeah.
cannot learn to swim on a wet towel, next to the pool. Yeah, you can do that, but that's another kettle of fish. That's like the big advantage if you come here and study with us. Because these things we talk about will make the difference in our life. And you will get there in the end if you put through. That's also how Morgan and I had to somehow learn, and I really had like great mentors, but not that much in like garden medicine. But now the big advantage is we both had to somehow find it out ourselves. And where we bumped our heads, we can now grant you an enormous shortcut. That's where we are in the field. At least I am. I'm pretty much sure Morgan is as well. And I don't want to speak for her on her behalf. She
Okay.
has to speak on her
No.
behalf as well. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
No.
big
Yeah.
advantage. So but anyway, if you want to have more tips, you want to really learn, what really is going on, it's also like the conversation with yourself. And you will find out that we are also just Morgan and I, people like you are. We have also our vulnerability. At least I have, and always,
Me too.
my first reading, I was like sweating like an ox.
Yes. Yeah.
And can you imagine? And then I also came from another context where I was like fighting like in a boxing ring, doing crazy stuff. Other people are some are afraid for, But I was much more afraid to do this first reading, and it's like my arms pits, they were sweating, all up to my knees, and like these dark circles, you know. But then you go about it, the circles somehow get smaller once you get eventually dry and give zero fucks. But until you get there, you have to really put in the work, and be disappointed and make errors. That's all part of the deal.
Exactly.
But we make sure that you at least don't have to hit your head where we did. And that's
Hmm.
also like a fun way of teaching, isn't it, Morgan? Because
Yeah.
yeah, we can really make sure that you don't get too disappointed
Yeah.
or
Yes.
get on track faster.
Yeah. And that you can really ask the questions you want to.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah.
Make sure that you are here for the next live. Make sure that you follow us. More and more people are finding us. So yeah, bring the word out. We're back with the Petit Le Normand. We're back with tarot. We are back with everything that has to do with mystery. We're talking about Freemasonry, Knight Templars. This is like to really, really play yard that you want to be in.
Yes,
So I'm
definitely. It'll be
sure that
fun.
you are part of our movement, that you um, stay informed about our events, that you stay informed about the great interviews. So I hope that you already saw all those people we interviewed, and there are a lot of really great names queuing in with such a
Yes.
great story in regards of mystery, but also overall, doing like really great achievements. You know, and for us, it's also like a really great honor to have some more expert advice firsthand, because we meet all those interesting people and we can ask these questions right away. But also make sure if you have certain questions, reach out and we can ask them for you. Or often our guests also reappear during our lives, which would be the case today, but unfortunately we have to find out what went wrong. But anyway, it works. So all of a sudden you can be here and meet someone really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And she will be on when, life is less busy. So definitely.
There will be many opportunities. So we are live several times a week. So make sure you follow us. Reach out if
Yes.
you like certain subject. If you have like questions, this
Yes.
is the times. We are still
Yes.
old school, far away from that AI crap. Just reach out. We are normally people of flesh and blood. You yeah,
Yeah.
reach out.
Yes.